So one approach for handling the authentication, especially if we're using our API from our own website, so if it's kind of just for us and for users of our website, then we can use ASP.NET authentication, which is a very, very good way to authenticate and authorize people. But of course, this only works for if we are only using our website. So it's not appropriate at all times, since we do probably at times want to support user authentication from other places like apps and devices that run independently from our website, like maybe iOS app on iPhone or Android app. They want to, get our API, and there's no way they can authenticate through the ASP.NET authentication. There might be a way, but it's very complicated and not worth it. So, simple approach for authenticating users who are using this at our own website is to use ASP.NET Security. We would add an authorized attribute to our area that we want to, controller that we want to authenticate. And then if we are consuming this from a JavaScript, we would look for 401 in our JavaScript code, and then we would know that they need to be authenticated, and we could redirect them to the login page directly from a JavaScript. So let's go ahead and take a quick look in the code. So currently from the code, when we run our application, our website, we get this list here, some results from the database, and then we can go into our API and we can get a list of diaries. And I made a change in a database to accommodate this while I was practicing. So in order to change this back, I would have to go ahead and edit this row and put Sean Wildermuth back in here. Because this is hard-coded and it's only going to return the Sean Wildermuth data. So when we go back to our API, if we refresh, we should get the data. So there's no any kind of authentication, it's just looking for that string username, and it's looking for the data in a database for it. So in order to use the security, what we need to do is we need to go ahead and log in. And before I log in, what I should do is I should go ahead and, for our diaries in our controllers, for our diaries controller, we should go ahead and put the attribute called authorize. Once we add this attribute, when we try to retrieve this, and I'll do that really quick here. When we try to retrieve this API, of course we have to build first. So we get authorization has been denied for this request, and in our fiddler we will get a 401. So if I try to run it here in a fiddler, see I get a 401. Not unauthorized, and message authorization has been denied, so it's 401 unauthorized. And well, that's because I enabled authorization, but I'm not logged into the website. So I can go ahead and log in. And I already created the account. which is very simple with Microsoft. They did a good job with the authentication interface. We log in. See, now I'm logged in. Here I am. And if I want to go ahead and call the diaries, I'm actually getting the diaries. Well, I'm getting the diaries because I'm authorized to. I'm authenticated, but in order to see this, these are actually for a certain user, and at this time the user is actually hard-coded here in our code. When we go to our identity service, we see we just have a Sean Wildermuth, and that matches Sean Wildermuth right here. But if I change this to me, and now if I try to run it, it's not going to work anymore, because now it's going to be looking for Sean Wildermuth in a database. As you can see, it's not returning anything. So to fix that, we need to go ahead and get our current logged in user, and we do that through a thread, which is located inside of the system.threading. Current principal identity name. So now this is actually getting the current user, which it's me. So if we go ahead and refresh, build first, of course. It's not a JavaScript. Refresh. And here it is. So now it's actually using the logged in user, and if I create a different user and try to look at this data, it wouldn't work. So this was just a quick introduction to piggybacking off of ASP.NET Security for the needs of using the API with our own website. The next continuation of this is going to be explaining how to use API with different when the users are not on our website.